This 17 News at Noon podcast is brought to you by Clinica Sierra Vista.
Welcome back to the 17 News at Noon podcast, where we share your news on your schedule.
Well, good day. I'm Elena Rusk, and today is Cesar Chavez Day, a day when many Latino-led community organizations and nonprofits are honoring the life of the late labor and civil rights champion, Cesar Chavez. The day is a national holiday, and in California, it's a state holiday. Today's celebrations come on what would have been his 95th birthday. As COVID-19 restrictions ease across the country, groups are commemorating his legacy of activism by holding events today. The United Farm Workers, which was co-founded by Chavez, will mobilize farm workers today to call for Governor Gavin Newsom's support of Assembly Bill 2183, which is named the Agriculture Labor Relations Voting Choice Act. And this morning, the Farmer Institute of Education and Leadership Development, or FIELD, an organization founded by Chavez, held the 6th annual Cesar Chavez Legacy Breakfast at Hodell's. FIELD is a nonprofit organization committed to uplifting the economic prospects of underserved populations in poor minority communities. They say Cesar's ultimate vision was to inspire farm workers and the rural workforce to gain self-sufficiency through employee-owned social enterprises, and FIELD carries out this mission through a continuum of educational and workforce development programs that assist those underserved communities in achieving empowerment, self-sufficiency, and a better quality of life.
It's important, one, to let people know it exists, right? Because a lot of people want to develop themselves and they don't know where to go. And so having these type of organizations is helpful to them because it's a nonprofit organization, it's free. So basically they just got to put in the time to come and do the classes, do whatever skills they want to develop. And I had to invite them to come speak.
Now, FIELD has served more than 100,000 people since 2002 by making a major investment in an education and training infrastructure, all in honor of Cesar Chavez.
Hello, this is Tim Callahan with Clinica Sierra Vista, and we're excited to unveil the Community Health Center of the Future, our comprehensive care center. It's located right across the street from Memorial Hospital. We have every service under one roof, from family medicine, OB/GYN care, dental services for adults and children, behavioral health, and much more. So find your way to better care at Clinica Sierra Vista this year at our comprehensive care center. Visit our website, clinicasierravista.org, for the latest on this project. We'll see you soon.
Now to your 17 Court Watch. The former owner of iconic Oildale bar Trout's has been sentenced to 2 years in custody for stealing thousands from his uncle, a war veteran. Arrested in January of last year, Alan Thomas Rockwell was found to have made numerous unauthorized withdrawals from his uncle's account. The uncle in 2020 filed a report with the county's Adult Protective Services Department after Rockwell refused to provide him access to financial records, and the case began. Rockwell will only serve about a year in jail with credits he began earning in January when he was taken into custody following his conviction, according to the Tuolumne County Court. The judge dismissed 7 charges against Rockwell, who was found guilty of 17 felonies and a misdemeanor in this theft case. Prosecutors asked that Rockwell serve 5 years in custody and the rest on supervised leave. But the judge, however, noted that Rockwell had performed good deeds in the community and had no prior criminal history, and therefore sentenced him to 2 years in jail and 8 years, 4 months on supervised release. Read more about this case on our website, kget.com. Now to news around town. A generous donation was dropped off at shelters housing women and teenagers this morning. The Bakersfield Alliance Against Family Violence and Sexual Assault and the Mission at Kern County received more than 100 kits from local Bank of America employees. Victims of domestic violence often must flee their homes with little to nothing, forcing them to live without basic necessities like undergarments and hygiene products. In fact, the most needed items in the Central Valley's domestic violence shelters are basic necessities like tampons and sanitary pads, yet few people think to donate those essential products, forcing many shelter residents to improvise each month.
So the Alliance is funded through grant funds, which a lot of times doesn't cover things like this, things that mean a lot to individuals going through trauma, individuals that are not in their own home, they're residing in a shelter, and these little items will just make their everyday life a little bit easier. These are items that we sometimes can't always afford, and so when companies and businesses like Bank of America step up to provide them, it makes our women feel a little bit more at home, and it makes it easier for us to provide better services.
Since this donation drive began in 2020, the number of items donated by Bank of America employees has tripled from 7,500 kits to 23,000. And the 30th annual Shoes for Our Homeless shoe drive kicked off this morning at Guarantee Shoe Center. The drive benefiting men, women, and children at the Bakersfield Homeless Center runs through April 10th. Over the past 30 years, the center says they've donated 91,000 pair of shoes.
I can't believe how giving this community is. I read it in the paper, I see it on the news, they've done this, they've done that, and then when I do my humble shoe drive, the outpouring of their hearts. We have people just coming in, bringing bags, boxes. Oh, do you need a pair of shoes? No, we just wanted to give some shoes to the homeless. We want to be part of your campaign. We want to be part of something that's greater.
Now, usable shoes can be dropped off downtown at Guarantee Shoe Center. That's the corner of 21st and Chester, or here at our studios at the corner of 22nd and L Streets. And then looking ahead, you can see the Bakersfield Symphony Orchestra perform in person once again. It's a family matinee concert of Peter and the Wolf this Saturday at Mechanics Bank Theater. Officials say the family matinee performance is geared specifically for families with kids, with a shorter and more interactive program and activities in the theater lobby before the performance begins. So doors open at 1, the concert begins at 2. The American Lung Association has flunked Kern County in multiple measures for our air quality. The group said Kern County got failing grades for high ozone days and both 24-hour and annual particle pollution levels. For ozone, an F grade was set to generally correlate with the number of unhealthy air days that would place the county very far off from the ozone standard. Bakersfield, in particular, ranked number 2 for high ozone days, number 3 for 24-hour particle pollution, and number 1 for annual particle pollution. Now, to reduce personal risk, experts recommend checking daily air pollution forecasts in your area. Today it's good. Avoiding exercise outdoors when pollution levels are high, and protecting yourself from wildfire smoke if you live in a fire-prone area, like California. To improve the air quality in your area, they recommend driving less, using less electricity, not burning wood or trash, and promoting clean air policies. Read the full air report on our website, kget.com. And now to 17 health news. Proof of COVID-19 vaccination or a negative COVID test will no longer be required for attendees of indoor mega events defined as events with more than 1,000 people. Mega event, 1,000 people or more. Okay. So in line with this recommendation from the California Department of Public Health, as of tomorrow, April 1st, Mechanics Bank Arena, Theater, and Convention Center will no longer be requiring proof of vaccination or a negative test to attend any event. I'm going to get through this script, I promise you. Okay, so that begins with the Bakersfield Condors home game versus Henderson tomorrow at 7. Now, Public Health does still strongly recommend that all future event attendees be fully vaccinated or obtain a negative COVID-19 test prior to attending a mega event. And Disney Parks preparing to bring back character meet and greets without social distancing. An official statement is expected today, but sometime next month, guests at all Disney theme parks will once again be able to hug their favorite characters. Disney Parks posted the video announcing this to their Instagram late last night, teasing to today's big announcement. Now, this will be the first time since the pandemic that people will no longer have to stand 6 feet away from Minnie, Mickey, or the princesses. And tens of thousands of California renters facing eviction during the pandemic will be able to stay in their homes for at least the next 3 months. Assembly Bill 2179, proposed last week by Concord Democrat Tim Grayson, would shield tenants through June 30th as the state continues to process their paperwork. This morning, the state legislature passed a bill extending the eviction protections for anyone who has already applied for the state assistance. The lieutenant governor is expected to sign the bill into law because Governor Gavin Newsom is out of state on vacation. Now, the bill does not give renters more time to apply for assistance, but rather protects the people who have already applied and are waiting to receive their money. And while it feels great to be getting back to normal, officials warn as the end of the COVID-19 pandemic comes, it could create major disruptions for U.S. healthcare. Experts say the cumbersome healthcare system has been made more generous, flexible, and up-to-date technologically throughout the raft of emergency measures. Winding down those temporary policies could start as early as the summer if the Biden administration ends a federal public health emergency that's been in effect the last 2 years. That would force an estimated 15 million Medicaid recipients to find new sources of coverage and require congressional action to preserve broad telehealth access for Medicare enrollees. It would also scramble COVID-19 rules and payment policies for hospitals, doctors, insurers, and patients. All right, also making headlines today, Hormel Foods has announced a limited recall of its Skippy peanut butter due to possible metal shavings in the jars. The company announced the recall, saying some jars may contain a small fragment of stainless steel from a piece of manufacturing equipment. The possible contamination was detected by a manufacturing facility's internal system. Hormel says they have received no reports of consumer concerns and that no other Skippy food products are involved with this voluntary recall. Now, the products impacted carry best if used by dates between May 4th, 2023 and May 10th, 2023. Consumers are asked to return the jars to the store for an exchange or to contact the company. Now, in a press conference about an hour ago, President Joe Biden ordered the release of 1 million barrels of oil per day from the nation's strategic petroleum reserve for 6 months in a bid to control energy prices. Those prices have spiked, as you know, here in the U.S., and allies have imposed steep sanctions on Russia over its invasion of Ukraine. The White House says Biden will make the formal announcement later today in the remarks from his administration's plan to combat rising gas prices. The White House says Biden will also call on Congress to improve financial penalties on oil and gas companies that lease public lands but aren't producing energy. Now, as we continue to track gas prices here at home, today AAA says the national average for a gallon of regular unleaded has now fallen a penny. That average across the country is now $4.22. California's average is down 2 cents from yesterday at $5.89, while Kern County is down a penny with an average of $5.87. If you're trying to find a gas station with the cheapest gas near you, just head over to the gas tracker on our website, kget.com. Today, the cheapest gas to $5.05. It's down considerably, but it's still the same store. That's the Varsity Station at Baker and Bernard. Prices do change often, so check the gas tracker on the traffic tab of our website. Again, that's kget.com.
The 17 News at Noon podcast is a production of KGET and Nexstar Media Group. For more on all of the headlines in today's show, head to kget.com.